Hi, I'm lawbymike.
He's telling the truth.
I'm a lawyer.
Truth.
I'm not wearing women's underwear right now.
That's a lie.
And today I'm going to tell you all about lie detector tests, how they work, how to beat them, and how to avoid taking them all together.
Truth.
But just how accurate is a polygraph test? Some TV shows would lead you to believe they're 100% accurate. Did you kill your brother?
No, I told you he was driving and slipped on a banana peel.
That's a lie.
Mamma mia.
The truth is that the accuracy of the lie detector tests can change depending on the person administering the test, the machine used, and especially the person being tested. The accuracy of these tests can vary so wildly that in most states, the test results aren't even admissible in court unless both parties agree to it.
Thank goodness.
And even then, most states don't allow the admission of polygraph results as evidence in criminal cases. But if polygraph results barely ever get used in court, then why are these tests so popular? 80 to 90% accuracy can still give you a pretty good idea if someone's lying or not. So it's no wonder why a lot of important people rely on them. In the United States alone, polygraphs are utilized by the Department of Defense, the FBI, the CIA, the Secret Service. I was gonna do this whole costume change bit, but most of these guys just wear suits. The DEA, the NSA, all branches of military and state and local law enforcement agencies throughout the country, they all use polygraph tests. The Department of Defense alone spends over $50 million on polygraph tests every year. That's a lot of dough, cheddar, bacon, cabbage, bucks, and Benjamins. But if these agencies aren't using lie detector tests to prosecute criminals as often as we think, then why are they spending so much cake on them? To vet themselves, for example, the FBI gives a polygraph test to every single person considered for a job there. Between the FBI, CIA, and DEA, over 70,000 people submit polygraph results when applying for jobs. But, like I said before, these tests are not airtight. So what exactly causes these things to be less accurate? To answer that, we first need to understand how a polygraph test works. You see, when a person takes a polygraph test, 4 to 6 sensors are attached to them. A polygraph is a machine in which the multiple, or poly, signals from the sensors are recorded on a single strip of moving paper, a graph. Polygraph.
Oh.
The sensors usually record the subject's breathing rate, pulse, blood pressure, perspiration, and sometimes a polygraph will also record things like arm and leg movement. So despite these bodily responses being commonly associated with lying, the truth is there are other reasons why someone may breathe more heavily, have a rise in blood pressure, or fidget nervously when being interrogated by someone with authority. But to try to calibrate for this, when the polygraph test starts, the questioner will ask a few simple, easy to answer questions to establish the norms for the person's signals. So we're going to demonstrate with Clark, who works with me at my law firm.
Is your name Clark?
Yes.
He's telling the truth. Is Mike your best friend?
Yes.
That is a lie. Do you consider Mike to be a friend at all?
Sure. Yeah.
Another lie. Do you enjoy spending time with Mike at all?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, another lie. Wow. Would you say you only hang out with Mike because he pays you? And were you caught off guard when he asked you to be the best man at his wedding?
Okay, I think that's enough. It seems pretty clear that this particular machine is a dud.
I don't think so.
Nope, seems broken, clearly not working properly. Look, it's not even hooked up correctly.
But you just...
So now that we understand a few basics on how a lie detector test works, I'm gonna give you a few methods on how you can try to beat one later on in the video. Because first I'm going to tell you how you can avoid ever having to take a polygraph in the first place. Oh, hold on one second. Let me just find my notes. Oh, that's just my grocery list. Kobe! FBI, open up! Come with me, buddy. Okay. Ask what's going on here? Is this your grocery list? Yeah, what does it matter? You littered. I was in my own private office. That's not a crime. I wasn't done. We also found 146 gallons of milk at the scene of the murder this morning. That has nothing to do with me. That's not what the grocery list suggests, sir. We're gonna have to take a polygraph test. If you ever find yourself in a similar situation, don't panic. Just remember that in any criminal investigation, the state must produce enough evidence to convince a jury or judge that the accused, beyond a reasonable doubt, committed the crime. This means in order to prove its case, state police and investigators have to gather evidence. And evidence typically comes in the form of testimony, photographs, video recordings, and forensic evidence, and sometimes even the results of a polygraph test. So, if criminal investigators ever ask you to take a polygraph test, it's safe to assume that they're trying to gather evidence against you and not to prove your innocence. Detective, I refuse the polygraph. Can he do that? I can, and you can too. because you're never under any legal obligation to take a lie detector test in a criminal investigation. Even if the police tell you that the test is mandatory or threaten to arrest you if you refuse, you don't have to take it. And in most cases, volunteering for a polygraph test can be risky because we already talked about how the test results are not always accurate. Well, smart guy, if the results aren't admissible in court most of the time, what's the harm in taking the test? Wow, great question, detective. Thanks for teeing me up. No problem. I'm literally you, Mike. Of course I'm gonna tee you up, pal. Thanks for everything, and goodbye, friend. Whoa, you're not released. We still gotta solve that milk murder. Here are 3 reasons you shouldn't take a polygraph test and why cops might want you to throw caution to the wind when it comes to lie detector tests. Reason number 1, statements you make before or after a polygraph test often can be admitted in trial against you. Even though the results of the test probably will not be admitted in court, things you say before or after the test likely can be admitted. And even worse, you have to rely on the investigator to tell you how you did on the test. This means they can tell you that you failed the test even if you didn't, and can possibly manipulate you into giving a confession. Reason number 2, police often use the results of these tests to determine whether or not they should charge you and to what extent. Yes, little Timmy?
Can I use the bathroom?
I don't know, can you?
May I use the bathroom?
Nope. Reason number 3, innocent people can and do fail the polygraph test. You might think, what's the big deal? I didn't do anything wrong, I'll just pass the test. It's not that simple. Remember that the test only measures your emotional response to being asked a question. For example, an innocent but emotional person could fail while a guilty psychopath could pass. Okay, class dismissed. You can use the bathroom now.
I'm good.
So we've established that most of the time, even if you do take a polygraph, you don't have to worry about a prosecutor using the test results against you in court. But sometimes you do have to worry, because certain jurisdictions allow results to be admitted with various caveats and limitations. So when do these exceptions happen? They happen if you're in one of these states. These are the states that allow polygraph results to be used under some circumstances. So if you live in one of these states, make sure to refer to your state laws.
Mike,
Yes, Clark?
can your boss make you take a polygraph test? Like how you made me take one earlier in this video?
Headphones, Clark. The Federal Employee Polygraph Protection Act, passed in 1988, virtually outlawed using lie detector tests in connection with employment. The law covers all private employers in interstate commerce, which includes just about every private company that uses a computer, the US mail, or a telephone system to contact someone else in another state. The act only allows polygraph tests to be used in connection with jobs in security, handling drugs, or when the employee is involved in the investigation of a specific theft or suspected crime. And in those circumstances, an employee must be given 48 hours notice. So now imagine you got yourself into a situation where you know you're gonna have to take a polygraph in 48 hours. You have time to prepare, and you remember that Uncle Lawbymike told you the tests are beatable. So I'm going to show you some ways that people, in theory, could maybe give themselves a better chance at beating a polygraph, if you're into that kind of thing. Clark, bring out the polygraph. I said bring out the polygraph, Clark.
What?
Headphones off, Clark.
What?
This is John. John's a polygraph expert, and he's going to ask me a series of questions about my personal life. And I have no interest in sharing the answers to these particular questions with all of you. No offense, so I'm going to lie. But don't worry, I have a few tricks up my sleeve to try to beat this thing.
Are you ready, Mike?
Ready as I'll ever be. John, is it possible to beat a polygraph?
If it's for a real matter, using real techniques, no.
Have you ever seen it happen?
When I've seen people beat a polygraph, it was due to examiner error. I don't see it up from over here. It's definitely slipped down.
Oh, it slipped down, yeah.
Just in case you need to do it, it just fits in the ball crack there. And there it is.
Now that we have my baseline, I'm going to show you 3 ways that people try to beat a lie detector test, and we're going to see just how effective these unorthodox techniques really are. The tack in the shoe technique. Many believe that placing a tack in your shoe is an effective way to beat a polygraph. In theory, this causes a small amount of pain and causes your blood pressure to spike on your true responses, thus helping them match your false responses and throwing off the interpretation of the test.
Are you an attorney?
Yes.
That's true. Just for fun, did you ever wear women's underwear?
No.
That's true. Have you ever gone to Canada?
No.
Your breathing stopped. That would be a lie.
Yeah.
That's one of the many signs of deception.
I tried to throw them off. I've actually been to Canada. Wasn't able to fool on the thumbtack one. The antiperspirant technique. I put this on my fingers. It's antiperspirant deodorant. And the thought behind it is that it will help reduce the sweat on my fingers and therefore trick the test.
Have you ever pooped your pants?
No.
It's a lie.
That's true. I've never pooped my pants.
That's a lie.
John, I've never pooped my pants.
Okay, that's true. Have you ever been on an airplane?
Yes.
That's true. In an emergency, could you be the pilot and land the plane?
Yes.
Your breathing stopped. It
Yeah.
would be a fail. It's like it's not there.
Apparently, the antiperspirant technique doesn't work at all. The get drunk technique. Lastly, there's this belief that if you simply have a few drinks before taking a polygraph, you can remain calm throughout and have the confidence of someone telling the truth. So let's try it. Down the hatch.
Have you ever been on a boat?
Yeah.
That's true. Have you ever farted but something warm and lumpy came out?
No.
Lie.
I can't keep a serious face right now.
At least one time have you worn women's underwear?
No.
It's a lie.
This is crazy. All right, let's ask some more questions, John.
You might not be able to be tested at this time.
You might not be able to be tested at this time. So the get drunk technique, it was good, right? Right, John? Whatever. Yeah, I tricked one of the things, so yeah. Drinks, John? Whatever, more for me, John.
Alcohol makes no difference because it equally lowers your reaction on both truthful answers and lie reactions, so it doesn't help you in any way.
What if I just mix these up?
You fail if you lie, you fail if you move. It's the same thing on our computer screen.
As you can see, beating this test is a lot harder than it looks. Polygraph gurus on the internet swear by physically preparing beforehand, like getting plenty of sleep, going for a jog, or having a coffee. Some say you can beat the test by sticking to simple yes or no answers and avoid explaining yourself, while others insist that the key is not to rush. Take time to pause and compose yourself before answering a question. But in practice, actually attempting any of these techniques and trying to game a polygraph might just land you in more trouble than you started with. So remember, the best thing you can do if you're ever in a situation where you're faced with taking a polygraph is to stay calm, remember your right to refusal, and avoid it altogether. I'm gonna go wash the deodorant off my hands now.
Are you the best lawyer on YouTube?
Yes.
That's true.